Jules Verne gave you Around the World in 80 Days. We're here to give you Around the World the sexy way. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of FYC Film Review. I'm your host, Genie. With me, as always, the Null Dog.
What's up, buddy? How's it going?
It's going well.
Is it?
I like when we watch movies that we've never seen before. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, this is actually for people keeping score at home. This is the second movie that we both have not seen because we've been trying to pick a Robin Williams movie. And when you told me The World According to Garp, I was like, what? What is that?
Yeah, this was one where I've had people mention this movie many times, or they'll quote something from it. Not often, but it's another one of those where I've never seen it. It's Robin Williams. Like I would have expected by now, I would have kind of stumbled across it someday, but it's never happened.
Yeah, no. And then I actually caught the trailer, and even watching the trailer, I still had no idea what the hell I was watching. So I thought that was kind of cool that the trailer didn't give much away. But yeah, I'm going out on a limb and saying that this is Robin Williams' most underrated film.
Ooh.
Because I don't think a lot of people have seen this movie. I'm
No.
willing to bet that there's a lot of people that haven't seen this movie. So guys, stick with us to the end, and we're hoping that we can shed some light on this movie and maybe give you guys just a reason to watch this movie from 1982. So let's get into it. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, 1982 gave us this movie, The World According to Garp, and a lot of people think that this was Robin Williams' first movie, but it really wasn't. In 1980, we got a gem of a film called Popeye. So Popeye was his first, thank you, was his first official movie. But this one is so out there. It was just, I don't even know how to describe this film.
Yeah, I was excited when we suggested this because George Roy Hill directed one of my favorite films of all time, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He's also done The Sting, did some really, really big pictures. And so I was like, look, this has got to be relatively good. Look at the cast. We get Glenn Close, we get Robin Williams, we get John Lithgow. I saw the preview and I was a little scared because I just didn't understand the naked baby. Floating up and down in the air. And it just was like, what does this have anything to do with anything?
Yeah.
Obviously explains it a little better when, you start the film, but I had nothing. I had no expectations and surprisingly rough start, but then got into the movie. I was more intrigued as it went further along once they kind of get past the childhood years.
I think that's what it is. This movie kept me intrigued because it went from one scene to another scene, and you're just kind of glued to it, not knowing whether this is a good movie or not, but you wanted to keep watching it because you had no idea what was going to happen. The story about him being conceived was so ridiculous.
It's a little rough.
It's crazy. The mom was a nurse.
Yes. During World War II.
Who took on this patient who couldn't move, and this patient was on the bed, and all he could do was get erections. And so the mother wanted a child, and so she knew that because all he could do was get erections, she did the deed, sat on top of him, and made a baby with him.
It's awkward the first time. It's horrific the second time she explains it, when Garp is actually in the room as she tells. I don't know who the old man was that was living on that property. The dean of the school.
I think it was like the dean. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But the fact that he just runs out of the room yelling, "You raped a dying man," is like, I didn't even know really how to react. Like I wondered that this is based on a novel. Like that novel must have been very scandalous at the time, which is ironic because she writes a scandalous novel in the movie as well, and it's about writers. So I didn't know what to think at first, honestly. It's such a sight that they put in your head. You're kind of like, wow, okay.
I completely agree. This movie is really about lust, sex, life, death, and it's like all convoluted, and it's got all these things. And I think the movie's kind of sloppy in that way, that it's trying to portray all these things. I think the actors are very good. I think the story is okay, but I think it's kind of sloppy. I think perhaps in the book there's more detailed versus the movie, because I felt like a lot of the times when it jumped from one scene to another scene, I'm like, wait a minute, that's what happened. What happened in between? Like, I feel like there was gaps missing, and I'm sure the book probably provided those gaps.
Yeah, this is, I think, another one of those where I think the book is probably way better than the movie, because there are some plot points where you're like, wow, that's actually an interesting idea. I wonder if they could expand on that. I'd like to know a little bit more about that character. And they're just kind of, like you said, these people and these events that happen to Robin Williams. And there's a lot of funny moments. He delivers some great moments that you just, the scene, which is, you know, behind both of us, when he just turns to the real estate agent and says, we'll take it. Like, it just had Robin Williams to it. It just, you laughed because it was the timing, it was his delivery, it's his face. God, I miss this guy. Like,
so do I.
He definitely helps and carries the movie. I think Glenn Close is fantastic, but her character is very interesting. Just spacey, and yet she's a nurse and
she's good. Her character is really good. I thought
it's really, really good. Until her demise, but you know, spoiler, sorry, 40 years old.
40 years doesn't matter. You know what my favorite character this was John Lithgow. John Lithgow, the Robert Muldoon turned transsexual Roberta Muldoon. He was so fantastic in this, and he's not in it for a long time. He comes in like halfway through the movie. And he befriends Garp, Robin Williams, and they become best friends. And it seems like Garp only friend is Roberta throughout the whole movie. He has no other friends besides Roberta.
That's a great point. Yeah, he doesn't. And it's interesting because, you know, the time 1982 when this movie is made, like, it's not as prevalent as it is now. Like, it's not as talked about.
Right.
They do a really good job of just making Garp not care, like, not think it's weird, not think, you know, anything of it. I appreciated that of the character. I appreciated that he was so open-minded about it. His mom wanted to call it lustful, but like the scene where they sit with the hooker in the coffee shop where her mom just wants to know about it brings us to my first fun fact.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who the hooker was portrayed by?
I don't.
As Swoosie Kurtz, who played the lawyer in Liar Liar, the opposite Jim Carrey.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow, she kind of looks familiar. Yeah,
I'm sure she's been in other stuff besides Liar Liar, right?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just my favorite. Of her performance. She's been in a ton of things, but
all right, that's good knowledge. Good stuff. All right, since we're throwing out fun facts, let's give fun fact number 2. Do you know who the original lead was going to be before he turned it down and passed it on to Robin Williams?
Selleck.
No, he was the legend that is Christopher Reeve.
Really?
Christopher Reeves, aka Superman, was supposed to be the lead, turned it down, and passed it on to his dear friend, Mr. Robin Williams.
So, and I wonder about this. Okay, it could have been a completely different movie, and I think there's a lot of dramatic scenes in this, but they played it very much comedic with Robin Williams. And so I guess I wonder again how the tone of the book is. Is it, they're funny moments, but am I supposed to be laughing? Is it tragic? Is it, I don't know. I really kind of like to read the book now. Like I'm not a huge reader. I prefer the visual arts, but this seems like it was missing stuff that I needed a little bit more. I didn't want Garp to go out that way. Like the story ends tragic enough that you don't need him also to lose his life. They're picking up their pieces as the movie goes along, losing his son and losing his mother. And it just, I don't know, that kind of left me empty at the end with that. It's dramatic, but there's no real, like, other than her popping up a bunch of times, the sister with the glasses who watches him all the time. Like, it just.
So, okay. So no, we're getting to that, right? The sister with the glasses who was named Pooh Percy. Pooh Percy. So she shows up throughout his life and always has it out for Garp. Catches him in the act with her sister. And then towards the end, you know, he's a gym teacher or a wrestling teacher. And then she shows up again and she's dressed in a nurse's outfit and she shoots him straight, point blank, shoots him. And you're just kind of like, what? Why? Yeah. I mean, is her hatred for him that much that she had to shoot him?
Yeah. It just, there's something missing. Like,
she was part of the feminist club, right? So he actually ended up offending a lot of the feminist women because of the book he wrote.
Yeah.
So it was just, I feel like there was a lot of stuff missing there.
I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. The sister just didn't have a big enough story to make you think that like, yeah, she'd go kill him.
Yeah, it was weird. And then the other moment was when his son Walt died. It was such a weird moment because, so guys, this couple, Robin Williams and his wife had affairs, and basically he's rushing home with his kids. His wife is in another car with her lover, and they run into that car, and his two kids are in the back, and one kid dies. The weird part about this was that the way it's shot, it stops and it like pans over to the son, and we just assume that he died. And then the next scene, I just feel like it was just weird because nobody really grieved him. It happened so quick.
Yeah, the grieving scene. Yeah, just all of a sudden they're back in Nantucket or wherever the hell, mom's got her, compound.
Yeah.
And they're just, his mouth's wired shut. She's in a neck brace. And you're like, okay. But then you actually don't see the other son too. So for a while I was like, damn, did they lose both? And then
right. And he's got an eye patch.
The older son who, comes out with an eye patch, and they have a funny conversation about glass eyes and stuff. But yeah, the shot was really weird. And I don't really know what they were trying to convey. I mean, it was like freeze frame. And just you're staring at a still shot of the sun, and then it goes to black, and then they're in another scene. So
yeah, it's almost like they ran out of money to do something. So let's just gonna stop the frame and pause it.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It's like a Scooby-Doo Batman, like like just spin the picture around and go to the next scene.
Oh, that's gonna be good. I'm gonna put something in there during the editing process. So yeah, I mean, but I do like this movie. I liked it. So you want to rate it?
Let's rate it.
Let's rate it. Let's get to the rating. What are we rating? 1 to 5.
We're gonna go with books. There were a lot of writers in this movie. And
books?
So we're gonna go with books. Yeah.
Okay.
How many books are you gonna give The World According to Garp?
All right, 1 book being really bad, and 5 books being the best Robin Williams movie you've ever seen, which it's not. So I'm gonna let you go first.
But it is an underrated one, and I will say that. I was pleasantly surprised, especially since 82, it could have aged poorly. I think that the running time at 2:15, I was scared at first, like that's a pretty long movie, especially back then. Lots to pack in here. I think I wanted more. I want the book. I'll give the movie 2.5 books.
Okay, all right, 2.5 books. Yeah, I mean,
enjoyed it more than I thought.
Yeah, it intrigued me. All right, 2.5 books. That's a good solid rating, I think, for an 82 movie. Heck, we were in diapers when this came out. Yes. Were you even born?
I was.
You were, right? So you were just so something. All right, let me rate this movie. The World According to Garp. Again, I actually like this film. It kept me intrigued. I think there's a lot of gaps missing, and I'm sure those gaps are filled in the book. But this movie, like I said, it's about sex, lust, and this life about Garp and hate and death and murder, and it's all kind of wrapped in this film. I, for one, thought the movie runtime was a little long. Just me. I thought it was a little long, but I'm glad I watched it. I really am, and I think it's one of his most underrated films there is. And I do recommend people give it at least one viewing. I don't want to go watch it again, but just watch it one time, see what Garp is all about. So I'm going to go with a 3. 3 books for Mr. Garp, T.S. Garp, aka what's a Technical Sergeant Gump?
Technical Sergeant Gump.
Not Garp. Gump.
Which is actually, we both brought up, there are some similarities. His mom's name is Jenny, and it has that, moving through a history period and telling random stories. So it does have that feel. And I would guarantee you that the screenwriter was definitely, felt some draw to this movie at some point. So
yeah, I agree. Cool. All right.
Check it out, guys. Big surprise for us. We didn't know about it. We enjoyed it. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Not sort of to that, sort of to the movie. We love you guys tuning in. So make sure you like and subscribe. I think that's all we've got for FYC Film Review this week. As always, I've been your host, Ganye. With me, my partner, the Null Dog. And we'll check you next time.
All right, guys. See you later. Go watch Garp. One time, though. Just one time. Go watch it.
Just one time around the world.
One time. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.